brother back. Wayne Doppler. It's just good. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Hey guys, what's up? What is up? What is up? I hope everybody's having a good one. Be doing a show here with Mark today. It's something we kind of had planned out a little bit, just a little bit. We've been kind of fluid on this, but you know, that's just how it works. This is actually the first time I've had a guest on, so hopefully everything will be okay here. Somebody
been on camera on your show?
What's that?
This is the first time you've been on camera on your show?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I've been on camera a few times, not very often. I've been on my show. You know what? Maybe it is.
I think so, because I remember everybody saying they were so excited to see you when you came on my show for the first time.
Yeah, it might have been. I've been on other people's show before, but can everybody hear us? I just want to make sure before I keep moving here.
Let me just quickly. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, we're good. I could just, up.
You check it. Okay, cool. So yeah, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. We've, it's been a long time coming. We should have been doing this a long time ago, but we haven't. So we're here now, and that's kind of what we're going to kind of go with, I guess. Now, we're going to get a little backstory here on Mark, and for people that don't know, guys, I can push people over to his channel all day long, but until you actually see what he's doing, you can't really understand how awesome it actually is. And, I know everybody that I've ever sent over there, I can say this for a fact, never ever has come back to me and said, dude, this guy sucks. That has never ever come out of anybody's mouth. So that's how, I knew it was okay, going to be good the first time. Once, Scott sent me over here, Sig obviously was too. And, that's how it all came to me. And then, and people ask me, why do you always promote Mark? Why do you always say his name? Well, guys, and I've explained this before, everything I do here and I report on is mostly negative. It's negative, like, information. And I guess maybe that's too strong of a word, but it's information that could have a pretty bad impact on our lives if it really does go south pretty quick. And I struggled for a while. I even considered shutting my channel down because it was getting in my own head. And so for me, this is a way to push people towards something, at least offset it with some positivity. That's kind of what my mindset was with this, and and through this, Mark's become, frankly, one of my best friends here on YouTube and stuff. So I mean, it's just what it is. That's how it usually works, because there's not many of us. There's not many of us out here doing this. Sorry, mouth was dry. I know that's rude, but it's what it is. But yeah, so, and that's how I found Mark, was through that. And I know a lot of you guys have already been there. Most of you guys are already over there. I get it. But I kind of hinted on this on my video last time, my last video I uploaded. And sorry for kind of going AWOL on you guys for a few days. I just needed to take some days off there. I'm not going to get into why, but that's just what it is. You know, I just don't want negativity. I'm tired of all that. And I think that, you know, the way that we've got things set up now, you know, if you go to my chat and you go to Mark's chat, you're going to find very similar, number one, rules. Nobody's going to kill your voice as long as you're respectful and not vulgar. You can have any idea you want, but be prepared to get your ideas challenged. I mean, that's just what it is. That's how adults do life. You know, who wants to always agree with somebody? Life would be completely boring if that was the case. And I think that, you know, we're all trying to find that little niche and everything. And with what I do here with space weather, you know, it's been a long road for me. It really has. And, you know, like I said, I went ups and downs. Going to shut my channel down, not do this, not do that. People pushed me to do a PayPal link, and that has been such a blessing anyway. And then when I did do that, I got hammered on that too. So it's like, so what I've learned to do is that, you know, the positivity is that I get from you guys is where I go. If it's negative, I don't even remember it. I completely just wash it out of my mind. And even if that same person comes back and says, hey, I'm sorry for saying that, most of the time I'm not even going to remember what you said, because I don't keep that. I'm not going to waste memory bank space in my own mind for that kind of stuff anymore. I'm too old. My mind don't move as fast as it used to, and it just is what it is, and I'm not going to do it. And, you know, if I'm able to push anybody towards any kind of positivity in any way that I can, I'm going to do that. You know, and like I said, I've learned so much from the beginnings of my channel, where I was using my cell phone vertically and doing everything, you know, in a vertical manner. Now there's some artistic stuff that can be done with that, where people like do music and stuff like. I think Christine does that, and it looks really well. But for what I was doing, it just didn't look right. It took me forever even to learn how to do landscape, and I mean, it just took a lot of bumps and bruises along the way to get where I'm at. And I do think it does help the channel, because people that swing through here, if they see it looks like it's nobody's even trying to make it better, they're not going to stay. And I wanted to address that real quick, because this is the first time, like I said, I've done any kind of Zoom, and you can ask Mark. It is not easy to set up. And if you've never done it, now once you do it one time, the second, yeah, and it's the OBS thing. So, but I wanted to put that out there, how I found Mark first, and how how all that came out there. And so if you guys don't know, this is Mark Pires, Real Talk. I promote him every day, every video, because again, it's about positivity. And let me say this: you don't always have to agree with what Mark says or what I say. Matter of fact, I hope that you don't, because it challenges all of us. And, you know, just because somebody has a different way that, you know, of viewing things, either politically, religiously, whatever, does not mean that we can't all love each other. It doesn't mean that we all can't find something that we can all agree on and be able to voice our opinion, and hopefully both people involved will be able to change their viewpoints a little bit and grow from it. And I think that that's what Mark has done with his channel. I mean, I know that's what his channel is about, pretty much. 800 days in a row. This is 800 days in a row. Everybody give him a hand for that. Live streaming 800 days in a row, 2 to 6 hours a day. I mean, come on, who else does that? Nobody. You ain't gonna find nowhere on YouTube, ever. Nobody does that, except for Mark. You know, so what was it? December 18th or 28th? Was it?
31st. December 31st, 2018.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm just going to kind of hand it over to Mark for a second. If you could give us a backstory on how you even got to YouTube, if you would.
Yeah. So basically, it was December 31st, 2018, and I'm sitting in my office. I'm a real estate agent during the day, and I started thinking about why my year wasn't as good as the 2017 year. The only thing I could put my finger on was that I didn't do as much video in 2018, so I got in front of the camera on December 31st, and I said, hey, look, I'm a real estate agent. All the kids I went to high school with, when you bought homes in the area, you didn't think about me, and you went to use our mothers who are all retired and own 5 homes and vacations. I got 3 kids. Think about me. I'm here. I'm a professional. I got a building background. I was the guy who thought of drone technology. Not really, but in my area, I was the first realtor to do that. So I'm making a video about this. And then the next day I went on again. I was like, that was kind of felt good. I think after day 2 or 3, my brother of all people says, you can't go every day. No one wants to see you every day. And when he said that, in a split second, I thought to myself, well, do I believe him? And I said, well, I'm not only going to go every day, but I'm going to go every day for the rest of my life. And so it's been 800 days in a row, 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings, 2 Easters, 2 of my wife's birthdays, my kids' birthdays, my birthday, 2+ hours each day. And most of those times, nobody was on. I was on to 0 people for an hour and a half. And I left an hour and a half message of positivity and light and love. Because you know what? One day, maybe long after I'm gone, someone will find it. Someone will say, you know what? It would have been nice to meet this guy, but at least we have this message. And so I've been here.
Let me say something real quick with that. Guys, anybody that's ever done a channel, it really does get really, really hard to stay positive when nobody's watching. Because you wonder, and don't get me wrong, most people start out kind of like that. And, it takes somebody usually a little bit that has a little bit of viewership to kind of drag you along a little bit. And I hope that's what that's my goal here with Mark. I mean, I really want his channel to blow up because I think it will. So just know that the dedication that he had to show and just the wherewithal to be able to make it through that is a hard thing to wrap around your brain, that why isn't nobody at all listening to what I'm saying? That's a hard thing. So that is and once you guys get to know Mark, you'll know why. So sorry, just wanted to interject there.
But the thing is, and this is the interesting thing about it, if I look back and reflect over these 800 days, is the entire time I was never negative on myself, but I could absolutely hold on. Sig is saying that I need to turn the volume up in my voice. I don't know if that's something on my end or your end, but I'm trying. Let's see. Is that any better? I don't know if you could hear me fine or not. But
hold on a minute, Mark. Let me say something now, Mark.
Is that any better?
I'm
not sure if you're able to hear me.
That's going to be
a lot better. Okay. So
I hate to do this to you, buddy, but they didn't hear anything that you said. So
really? Want me to go back to the top?
Yeah.
All right. So guys, hi, my name is Mark Pires. Basically, I spoke to nobody for the first 35 seconds there. So basically, December 31st, 2018, I started my show, and it wasn't intended to go every day, but when I sat down and did it the first time, it felt really good. I went back and did it the second day, and then I think on day 3 or 4, my brother said to me, of all people, my brother said, you can't go every day. No one wants to see you every day. And when he said that to me, I was like, well, do I believe him? And I looked at him and I said, you know what, I'm not only going to go every day, but I'm going to go every day for the rest of my life. And so it's been 2 Christmases, 2 Easters, 2 Thanksgivings, my wife's birthdays, my kids' birthdays, mine. I've been live for 2+ hours each day. And almost every single time it was to 0 to 3 people, 4 people sometimes. Like if you can go back and watch, like just pick a random show from 300, 400 days ago, there were 12 views still. 12 views, and it was like a great show, but like nobody ever heard it. And being shadow banned is tough. So like for example, I was just looking this today on Facebook. I had 7 views for my show yesterday. I've been live for 799 days yesterday on Facebook. I had 7 views. I have 3,000 friends. 7 views. You can't be more shadow banned than that, so it's, but the thing is like they think that they're going to beat me because I'm just going to get down on myself and quit, and you can't stop the light. And I just won't ever stop, even if nobody ever tunes in. I'm going to leave a message every day for the rest of my life, and one day somebody will come across them and they'll get something from it, and then it will have been a give back, and that's what I'm here to do, is try to affect a positive change one person at a time.
And
that's all I can.
Well, I think that you're achieving that. And I think that, like I said, you know, when you're down that low, as far as, and I don't want to call it low because it's really not low, it's just a start. I mean, honestly, that's really how you have to look at it. And it just, nobody, and this is, I'm very serious about this, nobody on YouTube ever gets anywhere without the help of somebody else. Okay? And
You're right.
it's just, that's a given fact nowadays. It's not like we got in here on the ground floor, because we didn't. So, you can do the Social Blade thing. You can see exactly where everybody's channel falls as far as being ranked on how their channel's doing and any of that kind of stuff. So, and you're going to find me about 700,000 down from the top. Okay, and my channel's pushing, I'm getting close to 46,000 subscribers. But I think that for me, I had to stop looking at that. I never really did look at that a whole lot, believe it or not. It would be a month or two before I'd even go in and look at my analytics, because I was going to do what I was going to do anyway, and I didn't want it getting in my head if my subscriber count or whatever else was doing a roller coaster. And it took me almost 2.5, 3 years to understand that, believe it or not, there is a subscriber season.
Really?
Yes, I texted that to you. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's been like a week ago. But
I didn't see that.
If you go and if you look, well, you can go look at my Social Blade or anybody's Social Blade, and you're going to see right now, nobody subscribes anywhere. It's about February. It really slows down, and then it really picks up in September. It's just what happens. People start staying in the house, and I think it's weather related, in my opinion. But it is a very, very steep decline right now. My channel just went to a halt. I've only gained like 300 subs in like a month or two. Not two, but like a month. And that's kind of low for what the pattern I was on. And, and I wondered, am I doing something wrong? And then I was like, maybe I need to change this, change that. And then I had to step back and be like, hold on a minute. So I went and I looked, and sure enough, every year at the same time, the same hump was there. And you can look. Yeah, and you can look at other people's channel. Now, it might be a little offset if you start your channel in February and then you get a bunch of subs. Okay? I mean, I get that. I mean, that first year might be a little off, but the analytics through historic will show you exactly when the subscriber season is for your content. And we have to understand there's a whole lot to this now that never used to be there. This is all new, like historic data type of collection for trying to build a YouTube channel. And I don't monetize, guys, and I think that what that means for me is it has nothing to do with the money part. People that monetize, YouTube automatically puts you in such a higher level when you monetize. So when I don't monetize, it actually puts me at a disadvantage, a huge disadvantage. So the fact that I'm even where I'm at really has surprised me already anyway. And I just don't want to monetize because it does tie your hands for certain things, a lot of things. Like I said, you can go look at my Social Blade. If I did monetize, I was only going to, my channel, even with my subscriptions and my viewership, it was like $600 a year.
Oh, it tells you what you could make?
Yeah.
I've never seen that site. Like, I'm so new to all this. Like, I got to tell you a pretty funny story. So, I started the YouTube show on day 318. So for 318 days, I was doing Instagram and Facebook every day. And actually, at the beginning, I was doing 5 shows. I do a show on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, which I thought was live at first, but I realized like 6 months in that it wasn't. And I'm doing and each one was like 7 to 10 minutes. So I was doing all this stuff. Then then YouTube would end and I'd do like 30 minutes on YouTube. I stopped YouTube. And then all of a sudden, day 318, I had to do my first interview with 2 people on camera, and the vertical camera, to your point, no longer worked. How the hell am I going to get 2 people on my vertical camera? So I figured out that one day what OBS was. I had no idea what OBS was until day 318 of the show. And then all of a sudden, I brought cameras in, I got my beat seat going, and it became a new show all in itself because I was able to open up my mind with the cameras and use my music equipment that I always had. But here's the funny story. I'm starting YouTube. I got nobody, literally, and my son and my daughter would say every day, like, "Hey, how's it going, Daddy? How you doing? How many subs are you at?" They'd always ask me. I'm like, oh, well, it's not about that, kids, you know. And they're young, but they say how many subs because they know that I need to grow if anything's going to ever happen. And I'm like, oh, 295. And my son goes, well, why doesn't it say you have 295 subs? I'm looking, it doesn't say your subs. I said, well, I hid it because doesn't it look really bad that I only have 295 subs? He goes, yeah, but people, he goes, your show's really good, Daddy. What if people think you have millions of subs and you're hiding it from them? He goes, show them, and then maybe they'll say, this guy's good, and they'll subscribe to you. And I said, that's an interesting point. It didn't work, but the point is, we now at least see where I am, and I can watch my progress. The world can see the progress. And to your point, this last month, I've gained 20 and I lose 20. Susan Donahue has been unsubscribed 8 times from my show. I don't know how you can go, like, it's a tough thing when people who want to subscribe and they get unsubscribed. Like, I don't understand that side of it. So that's just, but I think it's all with this designed thing about getting into the mindset of the creators and getting the people that the agenda is not on par with their agenda. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you guys don't know what my concept for Real Talk is this world is filled with darkness. And I'm sick of it. So I will beam light at all of that darkness every day for the rest of my life for 3+ hours, and just come and join me. We laugh, we play music, we have a great time, and it's all in the moment. I've never written a word. Unscripted, we take the moment and we let it happen. And you know how much amazing moments there are in this second? All of them. We just need to connect in it and become. This moment is amazing. Everyone wants to think about the past or the future. Something that already happened we can't change, or something that may not happen. I may not get a breath tomorrow. I'm taking this second. I'm making the most of it. Every single second. And if you go and watch my 800 shows, you'll see this on every single one of them. I don't know how to be any different. I know how to live right now, and I know how to give everything of me to this world in order to hopefully make a change, because we need it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, you said a lot there that, I mean, I think that most people are going to understand that fairly quickly, you know. And I guess what I would say, because I know a lot of things come up, like when you're watching somebody's channel. Now, very seldom will you ever go to somebody's channel that you're going to agree with everything that they say. Okay, it doesn't matter whose channel you're on, what you're doing. I look at it like, you know, like the church itself. You know, there's so many different denominations, but they're still, you know, praying to the same God. They all have different opinions on how to do that, but who's right, who's wrong, we can all argue that all day long if we want, but what's the point? Okay? So I think that, you know, if we all know that it's a positive thing, why does it matter? Why not smile instead of frowning? Why not laugh instead of crying? You know, that's kind of how I had to start looking at life myself, and most people know my story. I'm not going to get into any of that, but it's such a hard thing for people to wrap their brains around, that in today's culture, it's cancel culture. If you don't agree with them, they just cancel you out. And
yeah.
And it starts with, you know, even goes back to the throwaway culture that we're all in now. You know, if it doesn't, you know, we buy stuff that doesn't cost very much with the expectation of throwing it away in 2 years or whatever. But it all starts right there. Okay?
That's a good point.
And, you know, it starts, that's the kind of stuff that, you know, keeps moving and moving. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at everything going around us right now. And I'm not sure if everybody here has seen the movie Wall-E. You remember that movie Wall-E? It's a Disney movie.
Yep.
With the robot that's on, I think they were on planet Earth, and it was the trash. It was always picking up the trash.
Think Live, right? It was like, wow. Something silly like.
And yeah.
I get the best if you want me to, but whatever.
and they went. The humans left the planet. They went up in this spaceship, and they were there for like a generation almost. And the younger kids grew up, but by the time they came back, none of them even walked. They were in their chairs. They couldn't walk. So everything was automated. And everybody was doing this and doing that and had avatars, this and that, and everything switched to that direction. Well, if you look around, guys, I mean, come on. What is happening? I mean,
We're-
if you'd have told me 10 years ago that we'd have all been stuck in our house for over a year and a half, I'd have called you stupid and just kept right on walking. But now I walk into my own house, and it isn't necessarily a bad thing if you can control it. But you look around and everybody's got their face in their phone or in a TV, or you walk around your house, everybody's in a different room. There is no going outside doing this and doing that. And I think that if we lose that, we lose who we are. And
Well, the family has come to a halt. We no longer have the sit down at dinner and have those conversations. How was your day, son? What did you do today? What did you study? You know, it's everybody's at their own table. They got laptops out, TV. Remember when we were kids? They say shut the TV off when you come to have dinner. Like that's like not the. It's like everybody has their own TVs. Everybody's got and you can't say anything because then you're affecting their freedoms. Like it's a crazy world, but I do want to explain one thing because you're right. Like as far as people having perspectives, I truly believe that everybody should have their own opinion. And on the show, you know, I hope people don't get offended when I say things like, "Hey, you know what? God is God, and you guys can love your God, whatever you call it. But here it's about love, light, and positivity, and that's a part of every religion. But if you single out one religion, then you divide from everybody. I'm trying to stop the division. It goes back to us being human beings, and we're light. We come from energy. We go back to energy as one. So why don't we become one here and see how that goes? We've been divided for so long, and they keep sticking that knife in, and all we have to do is say no. All we have to do is say it's not the way it is, and have a conversation with someone for the love of God instead of, you know,
it comes down to the judgment. You know, I think that's what you're saying. Because if you come to somebody's channel and you're judging them immediately on what they're saying without really figuring out what they're actually talking about, you're never ever going to get to the heart of what they're trying to say. And I think, you know, and I know that, you know, the really hardcore, like Christian, and which is what I was brought up in, has a real issue with this sometimes. But at the end of the day, if you actually do what you're supposed to do, you know, you got to listen to people. You're going to catch more flies with honey than you are shit. And sorry for this cuss word there, but that's what it is. And I think that, you know, you can't go out there and offend everybody every time. I mean, it's just not what it is. So you can't judge somebody if you really want them to hear what you're saying. You can't yell at them.
The takeaway though for me too on top of that is that I get a lot of people who say, "Oh geez, Mark, the work you're doing, if you only would use the word Jesus, if you would only say the word Jesus within like the amount of people," I'm like, it's not about grabbing somebody that way, first of all. Secondly, when you do that, you divide. And I said, just because if I believe something and I still talk about my beliefs, I divide from everybody. And I don't know. That's why I've said before, I truly believe when he comes back, whenever, it's going to be for everybody to come with him, not with just the Christians. Like, it's not like that, you know? I think the mission is true. 800 days in a row of taking from the positivity of this universe and sharing it. I know what he did here 2,000 plus years ago. He was trying to get us all together. He wasn't trying to get one group. And we're all here trying to be the group. Oh, we're the chosen ones. No, we are all the chosen ones. We are all God's children. We are all like amazing. You know, you have a unique genius within you, something you do better than me, something you do better than everybody else. You just need to locate it. And guess where it is? It's not in a book. It's not in a building. It's inside of you. It's in your heart. It's the light you have to share with this world, and you need to find it. And that's what I'm hoping people will come and do is connect with that positivity and find their own light. Right. Because we all have it. We all have it. And I'll tell you what, it is hard to find when all you have around you is negativity. And until I started doing this, I was so affected by it. I was feeling like Wages was about my real estate business. I was like, I can't deal with this. Every realtor is so negative. And I got to sit there and hear it. My old manager used to say, I didn't even realize this. He goes, watch Mark. Next time there's the agents go, well, how did she get that listing? She's a terrible agent. Mark will get up and leave the room. I was like, what? And I realized that I did it. I didn't even realize, because I'm an empath. I feel everything going on around me. Right. And I started being the energy that could change the room instead of the other way around. I'm done with the people changing my energy. I'm no longer, I walk out of rooms. I've walked out of conversations. Where are you going? I'm sorry. I just don't have time for this. How the?
Yeah.
You know, there's no way I'm going to lose a moment. Talk about the moment. I'm not going to give up my moments on somebody who's not going to appreciate the fact that this is special, that we have this second right now.
Exactly. And I think what I would say on top of that is that, you know, when, especially like I said with the Jesus conversation, he's not saying you can't believe in Jesus. He's not saying that we shouldn't believe in Jesus. He's not saying he don't believe in Jesus. He's just saying this is how he does it, and he's going to accept you no matter what you come in with, and we're going to share stuff that's positive.
And I'll say while I'm on the show, I do, but I can't talk about it, because if I do, it divides us from everybody else that doesn't. Right. And this Real Talk thing is about this entire 7.7 billion people coming together as one. It's not one sect. It's not one religion. And if the truth of it is that one religion is the right religion, I don't think that's the truth. I think that's one detail that may be wrong in all religions, because it's really about every soul. And it's all coming together, you know, and that's why my belief in it divides us, and so does your belief. And that's why we have to go back to the core, which is love, light, kindness, lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down. And these are the simple, like, just the, I guess, the core tenements of Real Talk. We live these things. And when you come into the chat, as Wade just said, you feel great. I'm there trying to level you up, and guess what the chat's doing? They're all there. This is all the people that are, they're probably here. I'm not looking on the right now, but they're probably all right here in the chat. These are all Wages family. Wages family's Real Talk family. Real Talk family's Wages family. I jokingly tell Wages that everybody is part of the Real Talk family. So yes, of course, Wages, we're interchangeable, you know, and you know, this is a welcoming thing. And I just have to say, you guys know, because you love Wages, I am just so thankful, because I've had this kind of understanding in myself that's the only reason I've driven to 800 days. And that understanding was that I will, and it's crazy to say this, but I'll take my last breath and nobody will ever know I existed. But there will be 15 years in a row of 3+ hours that I left for a planet to find one day. And believe me, when they do, their lives will change. Because it's been there the whole time, and I swear Mark Zuckerchooch knows it. And that's why he gives me 8 views every night. And I know YouTube knows it. And guess what these people want? They want us divided. They do not want the Real Talk message to be something that is heard by the world, because guess what? We'll start liking each other again. We'll start feeling the moment and living there and saying, holy cow, I've been seriously sidetracked by the lies and deceit of the world.
100%, man. And I think that, you know, for most of us, if you really look at, even, you know, you talk about leaving something for the future. Well, guess what? The ancients did that for us. They knew. They knew. They were writing stuff down in stones and stuff thousands of years ago. And we can still, and they did it in a way that maybe we should still be doing it. They did it with pictures, because they knew that language wasn't going to stay the same. And I think that if people could actually grasp a hold of something like that and really wrap your brain around how smart they were back then, you know, it could help people understand and be a little bit more accepting of what we're actually talking about. Because let's just face it, we don't all know everything. We can't. You know, and you know, what do I say all the time? You know, the second you think you know everything is the second you stop learning. It stops right there. You no longer are able to accept anything new into your life, ever.
I just realized another reason why they call it the cloud. Because one day when all this ends, it's just going to go poof like a cloud, and all of it disappears. Even my thousands of days in a row that I'm going to leave will all just disappear one day, because a server will just be a server, will be a server.
Well, but the thing of it is that works to an extent, but it doesn't work for, like, when we were kids, the old telephone game, when we actually talk to each other. You're talking to people. My server's right here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's true.
And my seeds, my 3 seeds, are hearing everything I say. They're going to continue to spread that. It starts. It's like paying it forward. It's the same thing.
Messages were delivered prior to all this, and they've been delivered through time. you
Yep.
know, written down. So you're right, though. I think the pictures makes a lot of sense because, and I know I jokingly, I didn't realize the background behind Sitchin, that he's not as much as admired as I thought when I first saw it. Well, I found that thing about him with the 7 planet, and I'm like, what?
I know.
But he did say, like, look how smart these people were 10,000 years ago. That's the only thing we still have today. It's true. Like, think about that. 15,000 years from now, guess what they're going to be looking at and saying, oh, well, how did they live 10,000 years ago? Well, we don't know because all we have is rocks from 18,000 years ago.
Right.
You know, so.
And, you know, and the thing is, with just touching on that, and then we'll move on from that, but when we're talking about truth itself, what is true? What is truth? And where is it? How can we find it? What's going on with that? You know, and I sat back for a long time. I was the guy that never asked the girl out in high school. I was the guy that just was scared to do anything like that, put myself out there. I could have been, well, I was a really great football player and just let that go because of my own personal fears and all that kind of stuff. But my life turned out the way it's supposed to. My best friend is in bed right now. She's got to go to work in the morning. It's my wife. And she's my best friend, and there's no other way to say it. She's got me through so much, it's ridiculous how many times this woman should have left me. But she's still here, and I got 3 of the best things, the hardest things that's ever happened to me, but it's the best thing, you know, my kids. And where are we going to find the truth, and how are we going to spread it? Well, where we find it is when we're talking to each other and our ideas overlap. When our ideas overlap, that's where the truth is. Okay, so if everybody is talking about the same subject and they got different ideas, if you step back and you actually look at what everybody said and where they all said the same thing at that one specific point, you can count that as empirical fact, because that's probably where the truth is at. It's like a jack of all trades, master of none type of situation. Okay, I mean, that's just, none of us is going to know everything. So it's ridiculous for us to come out here and try to push everything onto people. And I think that is something that you're good at not doing. You allow people to have a voice. You do it with humor, which I think is the best thing to do, because when you take something you're trying to show somebody or teach somebody or whatever, and you couple it with humor, people don't forget that. They will remember that, you know, in our human brains, number one, if you say something audibly 14 times, you will remember it. That is the number you have to get. And you can do the same thing visually too if you flash cards in front of your face. That's the same thing. Are you sure
they didn't just skip 13 just because it's
maybe who knows, but and I think that's where, you know, we all got to try to understand that, and you've done a great job with that. And, you know, and to the humor thing, I mean, that's, you know, guys, you got to understand Mark's, you know, his past here with VH1 and all of it. He had a chance at a record deal. Well, he had a record deal and he turned it down. I mean, if you want to talk about that for a minute, I'm sure they would love to hear that.
Well, I mean, it was, I spent 9 years working on my craft, writing songs. I recorded an album in 2006 called Something to Live For. It's actually this right here. This is the song that's my intro every single day to my show. And what's crazy about Something to Live For is when I actually do the intro and I say, it's Mark Pires, it's day 800, and it's real talk. The words, I was walking down the street looking for another way to ease my mind and help my living. The words to the song are real talk. And I started realizing I'd written 120 songs, I think, once I started the show, and all of them were a premonition. The words I wrote in 2000 and 1999 and 2003 are all real talk. And they're all talking about us loving each other and getting the best for you and me. And I know I'm going to miss this place when it's gone, and we're standing right here. And that's where we are today. I miss the world we live in. Where is it? I'm sitting right where I was, but it's a whole different world. So I'm going to miss this place when it's gone, and we're standing right here. I wrote that on September 21st, 1999. It's called The Best for You and Me. But the thing is, you go for something your whole 9 years, right? I was reaching for this record deal. And then I remember I was dating, I was trying to find you get this thing where you're like looking for your wife, you know, and I'm dating and I couldn't find anybody I could really stand. Like, it's a weird thing, but like you're with them and then like you're cool and then all of a sudden like, ugh. And then like I met my wife and I was like, holy cow. And I swear, this is the weirdest thing. The day before, I said, I'm done. I'm not dating anymore. I'm focusing on music. I'm gonna go and get a record deal and get it done. I'm gonna finish up that album. I met my wife the next day. My best friend at the time, her best friend at the time. We never met each other, went out together, and we both went. She was supposed to be going to Florida the next day, and we happened to sit next to each other, like 15 people together. We're at a table, and my friend, and this is partly where Hammerlin Jameson came from. I have a friend who can't hold his liquor. Like, the moment he takes one sip, he's like, and you're like, what happened, dude? You just took... He was like, yeah, so the stocks are doing great, and I really think you should invest in self-listening. You're like, wait, what'd you do, dude? So we had the best time laughing at him making a fool of himself, really, basically. And that was the beginning of something. And 6 months later, and this is crazy, I had a girlfriend for over 4 years. I never thought about marriage once with her. And 6 months later, I asked my wife to marry me. She was the first person I met that was completely independent, who had her own creativity, her own mind, and she allowed me to be, which is honestly why I'm here for 800 days in a row. If I didn't have a wife who was so amazing, she would be like, no, you can't go live again on my birthday. You can't go live Christmas Day for 2 hours. But she's always said, you're doing something that makes you feel like you're affecting a change. She's like, how many people are, she jokes, she'd be like, how many people are watching? I'm like, it's not about that, you know? So I started the record deal. I had it on the table and I gave it to an attorney. The attorney looked it over. He goes, you know, this is what Billy Joel signed. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, Piano Man. There's like this old industry joke that Billy Joel never made a penny on Piano Man. His brother-in-law stole it from him. I said, what? He goes, yeah, this is like not good for you. He's like, I told the guy, make it fair, and I'm ready. I got 7 albums ready to go. Just make it fair. Let's go. He goes, go back to him and tell him this, that, and another thing, and see if you can keep kicking it down. A couple of the things I would have had to do is move to LA. They were going to put a band around me, all this stuff. And my wife and I were going to be married 6 months later. She goes, look, I'm not moving to LA. My family's here. You can either go there and we could figure it out, which we will, but you could go there, but I'm not moving to LA. And I said to her, well, do I marry this amazing woman? Or 9 years into this career I've been trying to reach for, hang up the guitar. I hung up the guitar. Best decision I ever made in my life. Yep. I got married, had three amazing kids, and then 4 years later, I'm sitting and invented the first drum for all musicians. And that only happened because I didn't sign that record deal. The record deal would have put me in a mindset where I had the best drummer in the world behind me, the best keyboard player, the best saxophonist, whatever, anything I wanted. And instead, it left me all alone again with my pedals. I'm a looper, so I got all these pedals, but I never had percussion. And then all of a sudden, the invention of the first drum for all musicians, the first drum for guitar players, and that all happened because I didn't sign that record deal. So again, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% right. I mean, it's, you know, and it's funny how those of us that are really trying to do it the right way, how similar our stories are. You know, if you took your story and put it right next to mine, it might not have been, you know, up to that level of getting a record deal. But I had chances too that I turned down to do what I'm doing. You know, and now I have my best friend as my wife and 3 kids. I mean, your name's Mark, my name's Mark. I mean, there's what I'm saying is there's similarities for all of us to find, and I think that that's what we all have to remember. We have to go back to that. We can't forget that we're, you know, at the core, we're all the same. And oh
my goodness, yep.
And that's just the way that it is, and that's the way that it's supposed to be, and we can't forget that. And I think that if you, unfortunately, you look around, most people have, and that's we can't sit back and just let it happen. And you know, those of us that are out here doing what we're doing, especially like with you, what you're doing with the positivity thing, you know, that's so very important that people can't overlook it. You know, with what I do with the space weather, yes, I think it's very important, or I wouldn't do it. You know, because guys, nobody's getting rich off of this stuff. Okay, and that's a misconception. before adpocalypse happened, yes, you probably could have got rich off of YouTube unless you had 5 million viewers. But that ain't going to happen nowadays. It just won't. The only way to do it is the subsequent other ways around and doing things. And I've been so blessed just by you guys donating to me the past few months when you guys finally talked me into doing it. But, but what I want to say is that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. So please don't judge those that do monetize their channels and do this and do that, because it's a lot of work, number one. Number two, they are putting their neck out there. If we're going to put ourselves out there, we have to be ready to be scrutinized. We have to be ready to accept some criticisms. Or why are we even doing it?
Well, here's another thing too, and it's because I never understood that. Again, I'm new to this. But what I can say to this, I didn't start my show until I was 40 years old. December 31st, 2018, I decided to go live every day for the rest of my life. So for me to not monetize would be the stupidest thing in the world. Because at the end of the day, I've wasted 10 years, and I say this like jokingly because I'm a very good real estate agent. I shouldn't pat my back, but I do very well in real estate because as a builder / drone guy, creative guy who gets on camera and will get in front of and walk the camera around and share what's in that home, because I built homes for 10 years with my father, I add value in the real estate business. Let's just say that, okay? And I've wasted all of that time. Yeah, I was affecting a positive change one person at a time, but my true mission in life is to be with this entire planet. But if I can't make money to support the 3 children in this house and my wife, then I lose it all, and I made it a better world, but I live on the streets now. So no, I need to, in order to make the transition from the guy who spent 10 years helping one person at a time into a home, spend his entire day in life with the world.
It's the classic, one bad apple spoils the bunch. I mean, it really is. Because you get some people out there that's what they're doing. They're looking for clicks, views, and all. That's all they're doing. They're going to either fearmonger, they're going to clickbait, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And I used to get really stuck on that. I used to get really mad. I even said it a few times in my own videos. Like, man, why are these guys? It really makes me mad. And I visibly got upset on my show. And that was a mistake. I shouldn't do that. I should just let it go and just keep moving. Don't worry about what they're doing and do me. And I think that a lot of times, especially those of us that do the channel creation stuff like this, all the content that we do, it's hard for us not to look around and see what everybody else is doing, because you don't want to be the one that misses out on that train that, could be a good thing or a bad thing or whatever. You just want to stay in touch. And, so we got to kind of distance ourselves from that from time to time, and don't take what somebody else is doing that absolutely means that's what you have to do. And I think I even said this to you at the beginning, you be you. That's why people are going to come watch.
You were saying, because I was doing the Trump show, and I was creating all these great shows with, ripping apart the sleep sofa. And I said, you know what, I'm getting so completely demolished by social media, and you made the point, you're like, you're also living in a blue state and you're doing this. He was like, yeah, probably not the best idea, buddy. So I stopped doing all the politics. I honestly think the show now is the best it's ever been, because it's not anything to do with politics. It's all comedy, live music, and by live music, this is the craziest thing. It's live songwriting on a daily basis, literally creating songs every day, and some of them are really very, very fun. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the songs are great. I mean, and then you take it to the next level. I mean, guys, when you go to his channel, you'll be able to click on it, and if you have to walk away from the chat, you'll be able to listen to the music, hear what he's playing clips, the humorous clips and stuff, and he tries to get it in there that he kind of tries to read the vibe of the chat, and if somebody needs to be, if he thinks the mood's down a little bit, he'll play something funny, and it brings that's what we're supposed to do in real life anyway.
Yeah, usually wages. I think the first time you came in, you were like, "Hey, could you play?" We didn't start the fire. Now, I'd never played that in my life, but I played it. And so when I do see that in the chat, "Hey, Mark, can you play Winds of Change?" That was Keith the other day. Said, "Hey, Mark, can you play Winds of Change?" So I played it as the last song of the night for Keith. And so I really think this is a funny thing. People don't you may be able to relate this or not. You have a lot of subs. I don't. And I value every single one of you. So when you come in and you're in the chat, I single you out. And everybody who's here, I'm not on, but anybody who's here can attest to that. I bring you into the show because to me, it's about us interacting. It's about us becoming. And the only way that happens is that you know that not only do I know you're there, but I appreciate that you're there. I'm thankful that you're there. And I'm going to elevate you because you spent the time with me tonight. You know, and with that said, I don't want to miss my 800th day in a row. We're getting close to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Did you want to play that space report you had?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, we're going to show you something funny here, guys. You know, this is a guy that Mark has come up with, and I'm just going to put it out there, guys. It's funny. So,
you want me to put the backstory behind him real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm 19 years old, driving in a rainstorm, and I thought, how funny would it be if there was a guy who was the tallest guy in history, and he just gets the weather that much faster than everybody else. His name's Wayne Doppler, and he has the Doppler 5000. He calls himself the Doppler 5000 because he gets the weather faster than everybody else. That's it.
That's it. Okay. All right. So what I'll do here, guys, is I got a couple clips. I'm just going to play it and see what you guys think.
Thank you, Wages World. I really appreciate you having me on to share my expertise. My name is Wayne Doppler. I am the inventor and proud patent holder of the Wayne Doppler 5000. Also, Guinness World Record holder, tallest man in history, 8'9". And look, I have a hard time standing in frame. They need 7 cameras to get me in here. But here, I wanted to share what's going on. Is this earthquake situation is developing. And as you can see, there's a pressure
delay,
situation
but it's fine. It's
going
playing.
on. It's almost like when you buy a new pair of shoes, right? And you wear those shoes, and as the day goes on, your feet are going to like, you know. But when you take off those shoes at the end of the day, you know, it's kind of like the pressure releases. You know, like you feel great. That's kind of like the non-scientific way of explaining it. You know, look, I'm a scientist. I could get scientific on it, but I'm trying to keep it simple for you. So look, Doppler 5000, what I wanted to tell you is this. There's more coming. I could tell. The Doppler is basically an intuitive thing. I get the weather that much faster than everybody else, 8'9". Look, it's the Doppler 5000. And I look forward to sharing space weather with you going forward.
I can't say
Thank you,
enough.
Wages. What? I'm sorry, what was that?
How grateful I am for you.
No, I
can't tell you thanks enough.
Oh, sure. I can explain a little further. I'm happy to do that. So what happens with an earthquake is you have these tectonic shifts in the plates. And when see, we're switching up the view now. You can see that everything here is a red dot, and that's where the really bad stuff is going on. The red, stay away from the red area, okay? The other areas are smaller earthquakes that have taken place along that fault line. But that red one, that is like ground zero. You're gonna want to stay away from ground zero and kind of go into the center. You see a little small one right here? This guy, you want to kind of get in between, like maybe over here. If you get over here, you're fine. You're not going to have any issues with, you see, and now it's turned blue because it's a non-safe zone. They're telling people, clear out. This is like a water situation. Drowning in the water. You're back to red. That's what happens. It went back to red now because they're saying red, blue. You're gonna die. So leave the ground zero area and right there. I'd love to make it blue again, but people, it's not. It's a warning situation that we're in right now. Wayne Doppler. Anyway, that's it for me today. It looks like they're going off to another screen. Up there we go. This is the Schumann residence. As you can see, the Schumann is kind of doing a little bit of a green thing there. So I'm not going to get too scientific on that today. Anyway, Wayne Doppler signing off.
Yeah, this is the green part.
Hold on a minute. We're live again, so they could probably hear us. So you know. All right, guys. You guys like that one? What do you guys think about that one? I got another one to play you guys here in just a second. If you guys see that over top of Mark there, stuck on Mars, he's actually playing himself there. He's stuck on Mars. What's that?
This is the first time I've done myself on camera. It's always Christopher Walken, Donald Trump, Al Pacino. But to me to be myself, I was kind of crazy that it started that way.
Yeah.
But it is.
So Mark hitched a ride with one of the SpaceX rockets and got stuck on Mars. So that's why that's up there. He's starting a new series with that. I think that was episode 1. I just took a screenshot just to have something to put up there. Just so you guys know, I did have moving stuff up here. I had animated everything, and it was killing the bit rate. We wouldn't have been able to talk. We'd have been chopped up all night long. So I didn't do that. So what I will do here, guys, is we got another one. This is an updated one. And again, this is kind of what me and Mark are going to do here, I think. I think we're going to kind of do this bit, a couple times, 3 times a week or something. I don't know, Mark, whatever you think.
Well, whenever you want me, brother, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, so, and I'll play it on my show, and then he'll probably post it on his channel, and it'll just be, that kind of a thing. So I think it'll be a good thing, and it'll add some humor to my show, and it might even bring some of the really serious people, get them to laugh a little bit. You know what I mean? So I really hope that's what it is. So yeah, give a little intro there.
I hope you guys like this one. So this is a little something from Wages.
All right.
You set this up nice.
Yep. All right, here we go. Ooh, maybe I didn't do that right. Hold on a minute, guys. Let me I hit the wrong button. So give me 1 second here.
So just so you know, too, the concept here will be when we're live doing this, which would be even better. So you can interact and ask me questions live instead of this was taped prior, and then I did my Wayne Doppler over the top.
Okay, Wayne, I'm going to throw this over to you for a minute, buddy. Give us your opinion on this solar flare and the filament release I'm seeing here. And just let me know what you think.
Well, what you've got here, Wages, is the magnetosphere is starting to expand. When you've got this whole situation with cosmic rays, the heliosphere expanding, you see that in the form of a explosion on the surface of the sun.
All right, now that we got your opinion on that one, let me show you the other angstrom, the different colored one here that you should be looking at here. I'd like to know, you're really intriguing me here. So if you would, just give me your opinion on this other one also. So this is the 131 angstrom, Wayne. Is it any different than what we look at when we look at the 304, which I just showed you, in your opinion?
Well, Wages...
Especially when we're looking at the flare on the left side.
I was going to say, if you take a look at the flare, but also when you're dealing with noctilucent clouds, you're going to have a situation where basically Superman...
Interesting.
Yes, this is a Superman situation.
That's a really crazy, very interesting way to look at it.
Superman. Right there.
Man, I'm getting so much out of this.
Well, you go to the best. Wayne Doppler's. Wayne Doppler, tallest man in history.
So let's take a look at something different, which I know you've talked about this before.
Schumann. Yep.
This is the Schumann resonance, for anybody that doesn't know. You had some really insightful opinions on this the last time I watched you. I'd like to know your opinion on what you think these 3 little orb circular spherical looking things are and why they're showing up in the Schumann resonance tool.
Well, Wayne
I'd really
Doppler,
like to get your opinion on that because you really were like nailing it the last time I seen you talking about this.
Well, thank you, Wages. What you have here is an Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator situation going on.
Let me interrupt you there for a second. You don't think it could be something like a thunderstorm or, I don't know, somebody passed gas? I don't know, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know you were really kind of, going on there a little bit, and I was getting a lot from it, so please continue.
Not a problem. No, you're close. It's not a tutor, pooter, looter. What it is an Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator situation you've got going on here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's bad.
So you think your Doppler 5000, 5001 thing is having an effect on this, or is it something maybe, I don't know, solar wind or flare, CME,
It
something.
could be.
I mean, what's your opinion on exactly what's causing this, and why is it happening now?
Well, remember, Wages, if you saw the movie Predator, he freaking kills everything. The only thing that could take him out was a guy named
Interesting
Arnold
take on that.
Schwarzenegger.
Interesting. So let's take a look at one more thing before I get you out of here. So we'll take a look at the earthquakes. You had some pretty insightful stuff about this the last time I talked to you too.
Thank
you
you.
were commenting on how the red dots were, turning to blue and what that all meant
Yeah.
and everything like that. And for those that don't know, this is the USGS map of current earthquake data. And I'm hearing that your 5001, your Doppler 5001, has the ability to help predict earthquakes and tell us exactly, what's causing them, how are they happening, and man, it's a technical thing that, man, I just can't put my finger on. Obviously, you figured it out with the 5001, and I don't expect you to share any of those secrets, but it is really interesting, and I'd like to know what your take is on, why these things turn from red to blue to orange, the dots, where the locations of the earthquakes are.
Well, seismically, what you have here is a shift in tectonic plates, Wages. And if you look at the dots, you're going to see the correlation of the seismograph.
Now, let me interrupt you there just for a second. That kind of went over my head. Can you kind of like bring it down to like a 5-year-old could understand it?
I get it.
Because that's kind of where I'm at. And, I really, it would help me and my audience, I'm sure, to understand at that kind of a level, just kind of, lay off the technical words just a little bit. I'm not trying to, come at you or anything, but
No problem.
I really just want to understand how this is working. So if you could put it in layman's terms, that would be really appreciated.
Absolutely, Wages. Sometimes genius can be overwhelming. I get it. Look, when you're in New York City, the taller the building, the more it moves, okay? Because it can feel the shaking of the planet.
I guess what I'm saying is, so I guess if
8'9".
this Doppler 5001,
It's bad at history.
if I was to jump up in the air and land on the ground, you would be able to tell people exactly when I did that just from your Doppler 5001?
In theory,
That's amazing.
Yeah, in theory, yes, we could do that. If
I
you
mean, it
jump-
really picks it up and it's able to discern different vibrations and frequencies.
It's
Oh my
just-
gosh, man.
You don't get a patent unless
Where do
you
you
something
live
crazy.
or what kind of house you live in, man? You must be like loaded
The DOPS?
having that kind of knowledge.
The DOPS
Wow.
does pretty well.
Impressed, man.
I patented the
Impressed.
Doppler 5000.
So anytime you want to come back on, I'd like to have you on a few times a week.
I would love that.
Get your view on things and, what all this space weather really has to do and earthquakes and
Well-
has to do with our lives and your point of view.
Wages.
I mean, you're a very intelligent dude, so thank you for bringing it down to my level.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate that. So
Remember-
I'm going to get on with my stuff. So thank you, Mark,
My pleasure. And Mark, thank you for
introducing us
Yeah.
to Wayne.
Wages, one
And
thing.
we're going to move on from there.
One last thing, Wages. Thank you again for the time. And remember, Wayne Doppler, tallest man in history, 8'9". And you can find me in the Guinness. And you can check me out in the Wayne Doppler 5000 hour every night at 5 p.m.
Oh,
Hey
my
guys,
goodness.
so what'd you guys think about that one? You guys like that one? I hope you guys did. So, Mark puts a lot of work. Oh, what'd you do there?
I'm sorry, guys. Got my getting ready for the show. I just put that on the screen, but that's where I start the show with that screen. But sorry.
Oh,
What'd you guys think of the old Doppler routine?
You guys like
Wade,
that
you
one?
there?
Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. Just making sure everybody can hear me. I don't want to be sitting here talking to myself again like I was earlier. But yeah, guys, I think that anybody that's not subscribed over to Mark, please do. Again, all I can say is that you're not going to be sorry. And if you go over and give it a shot and you don't like it, unsubscribe. I mean, honestly, we don't want like I said, those of us that do channels, we don't want people here that don't want to be here. That's just what it is. So when we're doing content and stuff, it's people are going to come that want to see the content. You can't change what people like. You can't, So, we were kind of talking about that here in the background, and I just want everybody to understand that, when you see Mark, and when you see, definitely when you see me, I could speak for myself anyway, that what you see is what you get. This is who I am. This is not something that I'm walking around trying to be this person, that person, and I've done that since the beginning of my channel. And I see a lot of that in Mark. And what the advantage he has with the positivity thing is he's talented with, the celebrity impersonations and making up the characters and stuff like that. I'm okay. I can improvise, and I was Aunt Judy there for a minute. I kind of made... Mark didn't know I was going to do it, but I did it anyway. Put the makeup on and all that. So you guys should go check out that video. That was kind of funny. But... And I want to say something else too, guys. When you watch like Mark's live stream, or if I do a live stream, do us a favor, and after the stream's over, come back into the video and drop, "Hey, I like that live stream," or "Hey, I hated that live stream," or "You're stupid." I don't care what it is in the comment section. The more comments that a video gets, the more it gets put out there. Okay, and that counts with the live streams too. So it's not really about raising the view count when you come back in, but it'll actually do both. It'll raise the view count up, plus it will put it in a higher algorithmic section. And if people don't know, if you get 1,000 viewers in the first hour, that automatically bumps you up to a different level. So that's kind of the goal with the smaller channels like myself and Mark and everybody else. If you get to that 1,000 within the first hour, it really does push your video out a lot more. If you go back, and I had one video that had 60,000 views, and that's exactly what happened. I hit the right words. You almost got to hit it perfect to really dodge that. But believe me, leaving a like or even a dislike helps. If you drop a comment, it helps. And those of us that are smaller, don't forget the ones that are bigger. Okay, because there's people listening to me right now. I found, because I'm going to do it, I'll plug this real quick and I'll let you go, Mark. And, because I know you want to start your show. I'm going to be doing an interview with Rip Curl tomorrow. Okay?
Oh, awesome.
So he's a prepper, if you guys don't know. So come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about some prepping stuff and what it has to do with space weather and what things are. So, I'm not sure exactly what time. It's probably going to be around 7-ish, I would think, Eastern. But I met Rip through Marfugal. And I got to thinking about that for a minute, how many people I've actually met through Marfugal. But yet, I very seldom say, "Hey, go sub up to Marfugal." Because in the back of my mind, I think everybody that's listening to me is already there. Well, that's not the case. There's people listening to me right now that has no clue who Marfugal is. So what I'm saying is that even though you get to a point where you're bigger than somebody, you have to still, it really helps if you just keep saying everybody's name. That's kind of what I'm saying. This community is going to build itself. That's how it goes. This platform is not going to push us whatsoever. No matter how much we dodge the algorithm, it's not going to happen. So it's going to be up to us, and mainly you guys that are supporting us. And that's where, you guys come into play. A simple click of a like or a simple comment that you drop really does make a huge difference. And I don't typically ask for it. I would be saying ding the bell and all this other kind of stuff every video, but I don't. It's just something I just haven't done. And I'm not against people doing that because I think it needs to be brought up. But please don't think that that's such a something that you do that doesn't make a whole big difference, because it does. It does help. If you do nothing else, leave a like and a comment. Walk out. I mean, honestly, that really does help our channels. So, and anybody that does donate to either one of us, I think I could say that it's never expected, but it's always 100% appreciated. And please do not.
Oh my God.
Please do not try to give to me if you don't have the money. I don't want to take from anybody that can't do stuff like that. Please don't. If I ever found something out like that, you would probably get your money back plus about triple what you gave me. I mean, because that's just how I am. So please just, know that it's always appreciated, but I don't want to, I feel weird talking about it. I think most of us do. Do you feel weird a little bit saying that kind of stuff, Mark?
Yeah, I was going to say that in general when people, I always tell people, because I'll hear, hey, I'm so sorry that I can't donate. And I say, well, no, but what you can do is tell somebody. What you could do is show up tomorrow. So if you show up, you are donating. If you told one soul, you are donating. So I think people lose sight of the value they truly have, and they start thinking that the cash value is more than the value that they hold. And I'll tell you what, like I said, that's why I'll put on a 4-hour show for 4 people, because you guys are worth so much, each and every one of you, way more than a couple dollars. And look, I have 3 kids, I have a wife. I appreciate the donations. But donate your time and spread the word about Wages World if you can't physically share, and that's how you actually do donate, and that's so appreciated, because I didn't realize things like that. There's like a season and that you could get subscribers here and you don't get them. All this is so new. I'm like as green as it comes. I didn't get to a point where I could be monetized until October. And that was because of Sig Sauer. Because Sig Sauer was like, you're sitting here putting on these 4-hour shows for 3 people? He's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, Sig, you're here. He goes, yeah, but you could do half hour. I was like, yeah, but Sig, you're here. You didn't go anywhere. He's like, but you didn't go anywhere. I'm like, I kept going because you were still there. He's like, but 4 people? I'm like, I'll go for 12 hours for those 4 people. Are you kidding me? And
right.
So I think Sig was feeling bad because he said he had gotten a lot, almost the way you were saying. He'd gotten so much. He was at a point in his life where he's like, he needed something, and the gap was filled by Real Talk, and he felt like he wanted to give back. And I have to just say that, like, Sig Sauer, I love you, brother, and everything you do for this show and for me and for Wages.
Yes.
But everything you do for me, I just want to thank you, because, and it's so true. I think about how close I am to some people that I've never physically met, like Wages.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah.
It is kind of weird. And I mean, actually, I have to say, because we're living in a world where nobody sees each other anymore because of CV, it's actually become kind of normal. I feel okay about it.
And that's what I was saying about the Wall-E comment earlier with that movie. Everything eventually becomes normal. The new normal is what they call it nowadays. I mean, and I think that you fight against it, I fight against it, all of us fight against it. But I think what you're saying about Sig and everybody else, it really does go back to what you said a minute ago, where it does, what you can do for us is to spread the word.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing that you can do. Because the more people that hear us, and again, it's not about the sub count, it's about the viewership. Because if you look at your analytics and you see, because it'll show you how many people watched your show that were already subscribed and how many people watched it outside of it. I get excited when I see the stuff where people are watching it outside of my sub count. And
oh, I didn't even do that.
Yeah, it breaks it down that far. So
I can tell nobody's watching. Like, I could tell no one's watching anyway. I think there's 64 views on Stuck on Mars 2, which I think is probably one of the funniest things I've done. And that Dick Face at the wet market, again, one of the funniest things, and that's got less than 100 views. So I don't think it matters for my channel until people start to share my channel. And I think you said that. Like, the only way new people will see it is if others who like it start sharing it and start using that big thumb and stick it on one of them, like you like it or not, whatever. You gotta do something over there. And what do we do?
And like I said, don't think it doesn't matter, because it does. I know it seems so simple and so stupid, but it's not. It matters a lot. Click the button. It's that simple. If you don't like it, click the don't like. A like or a dislike gets counted the same in the algorithm, if people don't know that. So even when you hit a don't like, you're actually helping that channel. So, I mean, that's just what happens. That's the back end of it. That's how it works. But again, guys, please go sub up to Mark. Again, I don't have a link. I got a link in the description. I got his name and his channel scrolling underneath him there. But it's Mark Pires Real Talk. Obviously, guys, I talk about him all the time. I'm still going to continue to do so.
When Wages finishes up, I'll be live for the next 3 hours. So come on over and hang out, guys, and check out what we're up to. And And if you have a request, I'll try to play it for you. And we're going to get into some stuff tonight. I don't know what yet.
That's right. That's right. So, but for my end, I'm going to be doing a interview with Rip tomorrow. Rip Curl, please come back for that. Support this community.
Ripper.
That's right. And he will definitely give us some knowledge on prepping, even just for a simple snowstorm. The guy is great. He puts humor just like Mark does. It's all about, you tie the humor to the knowledge, people remember it. And it's entertaining, people watch. So I'm going to continue to push people, other channels. That's just what I do. That is my giving back positive, okay? Because what I do on my channel, as far as the reporting, most of that stuff is not good stuff to talk about. It just isn't. So, as much as Mark says I've helped him, if it wasn't for his channel, my channel wouldn't be here because I would have quit. I needed that positive outlet. And that's where I found it, and that's where it was, and I'm glad Sig and Scott and everybody else was like, hey, go over here and check this guy out. And all it takes, again, guys, a simple click. And if you don't like it, what's it take to get rid of it? A simple click. So, and I've never had somebody come back to me and say, that guy was stupid. He's an idiot. Why'd you do that to me? No. It's always been, thank you. So,
listen, that's a very fine line what you consider stupid. I do a lot of stupid things, but the intention is
exactly.
And hopefully it come over. Dick Facci's coming out. By the way, Hammerlin Jameson's making an appearance today. It's day 800. Hi there, y'all.
That's right.
Oh,
Dick Facci, Hammerlin Jameson, love you too, brother. Love all you guys. God bless. I'm going to cut it right here, guys, on my channel. But God bless. Yahusha saves. And as always, you can drink.